He has the opportunity to sign it, and we'll see what he actually does. We've had rumors that he may be tampering with the evidence as well, and so we're concerned about that. We're also concerned about whether he will actually release all the files or whether he'll pick and choose which files to release.
Years after the billionaire paedophile and sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein died in jail, his one-time friend, President Trump, is finally on the point of agreeing to the release of countless thousands of documents of evidence, names, dates, correspondence, emails, above all names, all of it. That's not what Donald Trump wanted. He resisted hard till eventually lawmakers in Washington, Congress members, senators on both sides, forced his hand and the president gave way. Still, Trump insists he has nothing to hide from his friendship with Epstein. He's calling instead for an investigation of Epstein's past associates who happen to be Democrats, men like Bill Clinton. Now, there's legislation demanding full publication of the Epstein files, and all that's missing is that Trump signature. So, what next? What will the files show when they're opening? Now, during Donald Trump's Oval Office meeting with Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia Mohammed bin Salman, the president raged at a female ABC reporter for asking about Epstein.
You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. As far as the Epstein files I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. But I guess I turned out to be right. But you know who does have? Bill Clinton. Larry Summers, who ran Harvard, was with him every single night, every single weekend. They lived together. They went to his island many times. I never did. Andrew Weissman, I hear. All these guys were friends of his. You don't even talk about those people. You just keep going on the Epstein files.
So that was President Trump yesterday, visibly again irritated about the pressure to release in full the Epstein files, hundreds of thousands of documents of them. Now, what's going on here? So the president is saying, don't look at me, don't look at those around me, look at those Democrats, look at those others who he accuses the media of ignoring, and Bill Clinton is just one of those. So when it comes to it, if there is a Department of Justice investigation, will that have an impact on the amount and the kind of documents that are eventually released, even as and when the president signs the legislation to release the documents? We're going to be talking in a minute then to Suhas Subramanyam. He is the Democrat Congress member who is on the Oversight Committee in the United States Congress and has been pushing very hard for this moment. For so long, this congressman and others have been saying, look, we need these papers open. The president has been brushing aside those demands, and then the thing changed suddenly. Suddenly more Republicans were joining in that chorus. Suddenly there was another Democrat in the House having taken her seat in the state of Arizona. The numbers were there. There was going to be a vote to open up the papers. Only now there were Republicans joining in the demand. President Trump, pretty much at that moment, decided he was going to go with this, change his position, change his tone, change his argument altogether, and say, look, nothing to hide here, open up the papers. And right after that, well, what happened on the other side of Capitol Hill in the Congress building, the Senate? The United States Senate also decided they wanted the papers to be opened up as well. And in the end, that vote went through overwhelmingly. So all that's missing, as I say, is the president's signature. He just has to put his name to this piece of legislation, and then the way will seemingly be clear to get these papers published in all of their multitudes, their enormous bundles of documents. And then we'll find out, or will we? Because the president has also, at the same time as all of this, been saying he wants Department of Justice inquiries into others, not around him, not around his involvement, but concerning Democrats like Bill Clinton, who he claims have been the story all along. The story, as you can see, isn't going to go away. It's worth hanging on for this, I believe and hope, because, and I'm told we can now talk. Let's see if this works this time, third time lucky. Congressman, welcome.
Hi, how are you doing? Sorry about that.
Hi, no problem at all. These things happen, especially with these connections. I want to ask you first then about the Epstein papers. It's gone through Congress, Senate and the House of Representatives, waiting for the president's signature. Do you believe, Congressman, we are now on the very edge of a major new scandal?
We'll see. I mean, I always say let's follow the documents. In this case, The Justice Department still won't release the documents. But what we're doing is we're going to continue to pursue all the information we can. And so in this case, we still have more production from the Epstein estate that we're waiting to hear back from. We finally got the Republicans to agree to subpoena the banks that Epstein worked with. The victims told us that that would be a huge breakthrough to follow the money. That would tell a story about Epstein's crimes. And so certainly we've had a lot of breakthroughs over the last couple of weeks, and it's all because of the pressure of Democrats on the committee wanting to pursue this, despite it being so uncomfortable for Republicans. But I certainly think we're on the brink of making more breakthroughs in this story.
Well, there's certainly a huge amount more evidence coming out, assuming it does come out in the way that you hope. There is a curious, contradiction here, if contradiction is exactly the right word, because the president, having for so long argued there was no need for full disclosure of all this Epstein material, now says, no, nothing to see here, just open them up. But of course, he doesn't need legislation. He doesn't need to sign anything. He could just say, open it up. He has the authority.
That's exactly. I mean, there's been contradiction after contradiction. On the campaign, he kept saying to release the Epstein files over and over again. And many of the victims actually voted for him, thinking he would be doing that. And yet, when he got into office, he decided not to. And then he's sort of stonewalled. And on this very vote, he said he's tried harder than I think any other piece of legislation to tank this bill, to make him release the files. And then, of course, he comes out and supports it once he realizes he's going to lose. And now it's going to his desk. He has the opportunity to sign it, and we'll see what he actually does. We've had rumors that he may be tampering with the evidence as well. And so we're concerned about that. We're also concerned about whether he will actually release all the files or whether he'll pick and choose which files to release. And so there's a lot of concern still, but certainly we have a lot of victims who have been so incredibly brave and have helped us in this investigation. They finally feel like they have a voice, and we certainly have other areas that we're going to investigate, like the financial documents and like the estate.
Congressman, what do you mean by rumours of the documents being tampered with? If you mean bits being rubbed out, as it were, before they can be produced at the order of Congress, surely that would be misconduct, serious misconduct, wouldn't it?
Oh, that would be serious misconduct, and we have serious concerns about it. And we had heard, there's some online chatter about a facility in Winchester, Virginia, which is close to where I live, and how there might be some tampering and destroying of evidence or documents there. We don't know if it's true.
Would you have any evidence? Do you have any compelling evidence of that?
No, we don't, but we have concerns. Absolutely. I think I wouldn't put it past this administration to do that. Frankly, this administration hasn't been forthcoming at all with releasing the files. If they wanted this to go away, if they were truly good actors, good faith actors in this, they would simply release the files, and they have not done that.
Okay, the president has been talking about a Department of Justice investigation into Bill Clinton and others. Is it possible that could become an obstacle to full disclosure?
Yeah, I think he's trying to put up as many obstacles as possible to full disclosure. One thing he may legally argue is that because he's doing this investigation, that he shouldn't release the files and only release files that he wants to release. And certainly that's not exactly what we're supposed to be doing here. And he criticized Joe Biden of the very same thing when the Biden administration was investigating Ghislaine Maxwell, if you recall. The Biden administration wasn't releasing files because they didn't want to tip off Maxwell and her team on their strategy or on what evidence they had until the appeals process was exhausted. But then, certainly now we're seeing Donald Trump do the same tactic, only instead of aiming at someone who has perjured themselves and convicted of horrible crimes, he's aiming it at political opponents essentially. And so, certainly we're going to put pressure on him.
Okay, Congressman, do let us keep in touch on this. Suhas Subramanyam, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.